we're going to turn on the electrics and see if this car and the head unit is actually working. So, oh, I'm nervous, but here we go. Today, we're doing a JVC head unit install on the Mk4 R32 Golf. Okay, so to complete this, you're firstly going to need a head unit. For my one, I have just chosen something simple, singled in JVC KD R792BT. The only reason for this is because I work at a Repco shop and this was on special. So I bought it. It's got Bluetooth, USB, aux. You can do Bluetooth phone calls, all that sort of jazz, and it's just simple and it will clean up the interior a lot more than my current one, which is held in by Blu-Tack. It can pair up 2 phones at the same time, whereas 5 phones can have individual music streaming, and it's got all the other stuff that you don't need to really worry about. To make the job easy, and if you don't want to do your own custom wiring, you're going to need 2 harnesses. The first one is this one, which is the individual vehicle harness. So this one here, it says right on the back, this goes from your car to your second harness. Then your second harness, which is head unit specific, this one here will go straight from that first harness to the back of the head unit itself. Now to get that done, what you're going to need is either a Phillips head screwdriver, which is the same as mine, or one where you can change out the individual little bits depending on if you have a flat head, a Phillips head. I'm not sure, I don't think you have a hex key, but they're all different sizes, so you might want to pick up one of these if you don't already have them. What you need to do first in this case is for safety. I've got a 10mm socket on a wrench, and you'll want that so you can disconnect the battery so there's no chance of you zapping yourself when you're actually going about the job, which is always a good idea. So that's everything, and now we'll get underway and we'll see how we go. All right, so inside the actual box of the head unit, we'll open that up now and have a bit of a look. So before conducting any sort of electrical work on a car, it's always a really good idea to disconnect the battery just in case anything happens. So on this particular R32 Golf, it has a battery casing, and it's got 2 little tabs on the side here that you just have to pull off. And mine is a little bit temperamental sometimes, but that one just comes off like that, and then it exposes the battery. So the battery has this little terminal on top, and then inside it's got the negative terminals and the positive one. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a 10mm socket. So firstly we'll just disconnect this little part. We'll get the 10mm socket and undo that little bolt there, and that will give us enough safety to take out the head unit and not have to worry about any sort of electrical death or other injury. So this one has 2 little clips to either side. You just have to pop that out like this, and then we can move that to the side for now, just exposing this little nut here. So we'll let Joe do that with his socket. It just comes undone like that. And we can just chuck that one there, and now we are safe. The inside of each individual's car is going to be different. So for my Golf, we have this aftermarket, which is a very old aftermarket Pioneer unit from way back when, and we're going to take this one out because it's currently held in by Blu-Tack, and it's a little bit clunky and doesn't really fit the overall look and style of the car as I would like it. So we're going to take this one out. So all we have to do for this one is pop out these little side trim pieces here. Just take that one out. These are also held in by Blu-Tack, like you can see there. So we'll take those ones out. Alrighty, so now that's removed, it just gives us a little bit more space to play with. This one should, like that, just clip out, chuck it all down there, and now that little cover for it, so to speak, opens up these little bolts just there. So you've got 1, 2, and you've got 3 and 4 over here, and hopefully all we have to do now is just take these little bolts out and the whole unit should just slide out. Alright, so what we do now is just get a screwdriver, undo these 4 screws, make sure you find a safe spot for them, just so you don't forget where you've put them all. Oh, alright, and that's the size of the screw, so you definitely want to make sure you find somewhere very safe for them. So now that we've got all the screws undone, it should just be a matter of just pulling this whole unit out. So we'll try that. What we've managed to do after a few forceful attempts is you have to take out this little pocket here, which will expose the head unit as a whole. And then all we have to do from there is just, hopefully, take this section out and disconnect the harnesses in the back. So we'll try to do that. All right, so we've managed to take the head unit itself out. All we had to do was, after a bit of forceful movement again, because this hasn't been touched for definitely over 10 years, there are a few cords at the back you just had to disconnect from the unit. One of these harnesses is what the new head unit should connect into, so hopefully there's nothing more we have to do in terms of taking the car apart. That part is done, so taking it out is done, so that's a small victory. And now we just have to get the new one in, and hopefully that's a lot smoother than this part was. We think we might have done it right. As you can see down here, there is a shitload of wiring and all sorts of things, because this car used to be wired up to a sub and amp and all that. But for just our purposes, all we want to do is just get this thing turned on and get the speakers. We've connected the harnesses, so this should all be connected to the car. We think we've got it in the right spot. There are just so many different things that you can put in here. So now is a moment of truth. We're going to turn on the electrics and see if the head unit is actually working. So, oh, I'm nervous, but here we go. Alrighty, so we're down here today at Haynes Mechanical and Detail, because what happened with the car is that we actually found there was a bigger problem with the wiring at home. Okay, so what happened yesterday before the camera died, or just when the camera died, is that everything was connected, the head unit was all plugged in, turned the car on, and essentially the head unit didn't turn on. And what we figured out is, what we think is the problem, is that these 3 wires, as you can see here, have all been chopped off, and that brown one is actually our ground, which is our power, and I think that might be the problem. So I've brought it down to Callum today for a bit of custom wiring and a bit of soldering, which I will not touch because auto electrics are not my strong suit. So hopefully this can get sorted today and we're in good hands.
Twisted it, you'd be able to pull that apart, right? But you let it cool for a sec, and you can't not pull that apart. The whole idea is that, see, there's no creep at all. Creep is, see how it's hard?
Yeah.
So there's no creep, which is what you want to make minimum heat. Keys on, yeah?
Yeah, it's on accessory.
We've got bigger problems, mate.
Oh Jesus.
Turn it off.
But now there's bigger problems, so I've got to come back later, but we're getting this to borrow. And this is Callum's own personal car, Mk4 R. This thing is wicked, and if I had the GoPro with me I would have got a few shots, but I wasn't expecting to take this home. So I'm going to take this home for now, and we'll be back later to fix the Golf, which is just over here, so this one's just got to sit here for a bit. But hopefully it's not too big an issue, but we'll be back with it soon. Okay, so I've made it home, and holy that is unlike anything I've ever experienced before. Big thank you to Callum for allowing me to borrow your car while you're helping out with mine and getting the audio sorted. Promise I'll look after her, letting it cool down now at the moment. It's just insane. If you need any sort of work done, any tuning for your VW, Audi, anything European, take it to this man at Haynes Mechanical and Detail, because it is awesome. I've never experienced a car driving the car myself that DSG farts and crackles, and it's I was smiling the whole time. It was absolutely incredible. So we're going to get inside now, and we'll just have to head back down to the workshop soon, but for now I'm just going to just stand here and pan around and just admire this. Wake up. I have something to show you.
Ish.
This one is loud exhaust.
And put your foot on the brake and click that button. Just got to let it warm up a little bit to about 70 degrees in the oil temp, that is, which I think we seem to already be at. You ready? Yeah. We just got a message from Callum, said that the head unit is all installed, so it's all ready to go. So that means that now we just have to head back. So we'll jump back in the Mk4 R, head back to him, pick up the car, and we'll see what he had to do to actually get it working. So it should have just been a case of the wiring, which I think was the issue, but we'll just jump in here, put on the brake. Okay, so I've made it home. I didn't film anything when I went to pick up the car up. I'm sorry for that. I was just having a chat to Callum about what had actually gone wrong with it. I'll show you the new head unit now. It's installed, everything's done. So basically what had to happen was that it wasn't just as simple as plugging in the cables and the harnesses, which is what in a normal car that didn't have any sort of wiring issues it would be. So that part was correct, and if you have an R32 yourself, do that and it should work. But what happened with mine is that because mine had previously had an aftermarket head unit fitted to it, someone who installed it a long while before me taped up lots of wiring, they've cut different wires. So basically Callum had to crimp different things. He had to run some new wires to the fuse box and all this other sort of stuff. So that was totally out of my skill set. So that's why I handed it to him today, and that's why I took it in there. Basically what he did all that sorted. I'm really thankful for that. It's really big help because I never ever would have been able to do that myself. Even just the stuff that you saw before. To some of you watching might look quite simple, but to me, electronics and that sort of stuff, especially auto electronics, is completely out of my realm of what I can deal with. I'll show you the new head unit now. We'll turn this on. So we can go here and play a song. Alright, and you can make calls and all that sort of stuff through it too. It looks really good. I'm really happy with how it looks in the center console. Only criticism that I have of it, and that's no fault of anyone's but JVC, is that it doesn't have blue lighting, because if I turn this on here, these lights are blue and that one's red. So I would definitely like it if it was blue lighting, but at least this lighting down here is red as well, so that still gives off a pretty nice effect. And it just turns off when you take your keys out, just like that. All in all, I really do hope that you enjoyed today's video. I know it was a little bit all over the shop considering what had happened. I mean, it's been a 3-day process actually getting this thing sorted. I really do hope you enjoyed it though, and hopefully for your car it's a lot simpler than what it is for mine. I want to say massive thank you and a big shout out to Callum from Haynes Mechanical and Detail in Parafield Gardens in Adelaide. You've been a massive help today, dude. I really appreciate it. If you guys watching live in Adelaide, have anything European cars, specialty is Volkswagen, Audi, Mercedes, that sort of stuff, that's your specialty. But if you've got any sort of European car, any car that needs servicing, take it down to see Callum. He is honestly the one and only. I've been to many mechanics before, and Callum, he knows his stuff. Very genuine, very honest, won't charge you through the arse. Very, very professional, very, very good at what he does. So I strongly recommend, I really passionately recommend that you head down, see Callum from Hayes Mechanical in Detail, and you will not regret it. If you've got any questions, definitely ask me in the comments below. You can hit up my Instagram, Facebook pages, both just 2PJZ. You can check those out because I do post a lot of content, especially on Instagram, that you don't often see on Facebook or YouTube. So definitely check those out. Yeah, I mean that's basically everything you need to know about it. So I think that brings us to the end. So once again, thank you so much for watching another video of mine. I'm really sorry that I haven't been able to do it as much as I'd probably have hoped to, considering I've been started uni and all that. But got some exciting stuff. Got a Golf R versus Ford Focus RS battle coming up, which should be pretty cool. But for now, that's all we've got today. So I'm Pat. This is 2PJZ. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.